Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about toxic positivity from other birth mothers. I see it all the time in my birth mother groups, and the other day I finally spoke up about it, and today I'm going to tell you about what happened. But before I get into the discussion, let me introduce myself. My name is Kat Davald, and I'm a 47-year-old birth mom, and I am in reunion with my 32-year-old daughter for almost 4 years now. So this topic really boils my blood. You know, there's other birth moms that will say things like, hold your head up high, and you're so brave, and we're so selfless, and, you know, don't regret it. It's a great choice. It doesn't define you. We are warriors. And you know, if you feel that way, that is fine for you. I'm not in the choir where I'm gonna be preaching to you in these groups anymore about how you should feel differently. If you want to feel that way, that's fine. This is why I created this channel, because I can voice my opinion here, and if you agree with me, great. We can, you know, have a discussion about it. I can educate and maybe, you know, give some enlightenment to some people that feel otherwise. You know, you can take both sides of things. But, you know, I don't use my channel to bash people or anything like that. But when other people try to tell me how I should feel, I have a problem with that. So you can feel however you want to feel about yourself. You can say whatever you want to say about your other self, but don't insist that other people are supposed to feel that way too. So this particular birth mom said that two things that I had already mentioned. She said to hold your head up high, and the adoption didn't define you. So she's in reunion, she's in a good reunion with her child, and, you know, everything's working out swimmingly. So now, when this woman said to me, or she didn't even say it to me, she said, she was the original poster, and she said, you know, she said her little story, and then at the end, she said, hold your head up high, adoption doesn't define you. And the problem I have with that is, number one, I will never hold my head up high for giving my daughter away. It is not a shining moment in my life. You know, it is not something to be proud of. I would have much rather kept my daughter, raised her, and said, look, I raised my daughter. You know, that's something to be proud of. Giving her up was not something to be proud of. I was a coward. I said nothing to nobody about, no, I want my baby. Nobody, nothing. I just did what everybody told me. So this is not a shining moment in my life, not a happy time. The other thing is that adoption completely defined me. It completely made me who I am today. You know, I used drugs when I was younger. I used alcohol when I was younger, like abused them, you know. I let men and people, like I had friends who were just crappy to me, and the men in my life, not great people. You know, they you know, basically walked all over me and used me. Not proud of it, but I realize it now, and it'll never happen again. You know, I never stood up for myself. I had years of depression, and there was so much self-loathing. If you watch my insecurities video that I taped last week, you know, I was embarrassed of myself. You know, everything. There was nothing about me that I was proud of. You know, and then as far as the other ones go, I wasn't a warrior. There was nothing being a warrior. I let everybody else make decisions for me. And if you're not a birth mom and you don't understand this and you're watching my video, don't tell me because I was only 15. A lot of people say that to me, well, you were only 15. But you know what? We teach kids today to empower themselves, to stand up for themselves. So, what would have been different for me at 15? I should have been empowered to stand up for myself and keep my baby, or at least speak up about it. At least try, but I didn't even try. I was nowhere near selfless. I was selfish because I was protecting myself. I was scared of everything. And I didn't say anything. I thought of only myself and the repercussions I would face from my parents. I didn't think about anything else. Like, oh no, mommy and daddy make me do this. I didn't think of anything else. I thought of like the shame and how my parents would have looked and blah blah blah, because that's what they were feeding to me. It doesn't matter. I was not selfless. I was selfish. So when this came up in the group, I said something to her. I said, I will never hold my head up high. And adoption did completely define me. And I basically said what I just said to you. Not in as harsh a tone as I'm coming across right now. But I was like, yeah, it completely defined me. Like, it made me who I was as an adult. And it did. Adoption completely made me who I was. And the thing is that I would always say to people, like people would say, do you have any kids? And I'd be like, well, technically no, but technically yes. And then I'd go through the whole spiel and everything. And I remember that I would always say, but it doesn't define who I am. But the thing is it did. It does. Adoption defines exactly who I was. And I never knew this. I never realized any of it until I reached reunion, because reunion made me start to heal and go through things and everything. So I finally realized that it did define me. It did make me into who I am. Everything was just stuffed down and away for years, so I didn't even realize it. So when I said that to her, she responded and completely gaslit me. Well, I was only 15 and my parents didn't give me any choice. And then she says, I'm sorry you feel that way. Way to go gaslighting me, lady. Way to go. So I wrote back to her. I was like, I was 15 too. Like, my parents didn't give me a choice either. So we're exactly the same. But the thing is I said to her, I was like, don't pity me. I don't feel sorry that I feel that way, because my eyes are open. Like I see and I understand like what's going on. So I don't feel that way. Don't gaslight me. I'm sorry you feel that way. Are you kidding me? Because I don't feel the way you do, because I don't hold my head up high and I don't I let adoption define me. You feel sorry for me? Like don't. You don't need to, thanks. I'm good. I'm glad I feel these things. I'm glad I realize these things, because I'm healing and I'm going through the motions, and I'm learning about how adoption affects me, how adoption affects my daughter, how adoption affects our relationship, how adoption will affect me going forward, and everything. And without knowing all these things and learning all these things about myself and diving deep inside, I can create a happy reunion. I can, not weep on my daughter's shoulder. I can, say to myself, okay, I have these feelings and this is why. I have knowledge about my situation, and I can utilize that for a happy reunion. Because probably without that, I would have messed up a long time ago. So if I didn't learn these things and start going through these things and figuring myself out, we might have stopped talking, because I would probably be a crazy mess. And knowing that I made the biggest mistake in my life is liberating. It really is, because now I know that I will never make the same mistake again. I mean, not like I can give another baby up for adoption, but if something similar came up, I would never make the same mistake again. I can move forward to fix it, and not that everything's just going to be fixed or anything, but I can heal, and I can work on creating a person that, I don't want to say not affected by adoption, but is healed, and less affected. And then the other thing is, I can educate others. By me knowing this, I can help, because I'm creating this video. So somebody else sees this video and has these thoughts and feelings, and then they listen to my video, maybe they'll be like, oh, well, maybe I should look into myself a little bit more, So I can help others as well. And it's taken a lot of work. I mean, this is almost 4 years down the road. It's, for me, it's self-therapy, just because therapy I associate with adoption, and that was a bad road. And, it's a lot of shadow work. It's a lot of, working on myself, reading a lot of adoptee blogs and Facebook groups and books, and then listening as well to adoptees, all kinds of adoptees, happy ones that had great childhoods and don't have animosity and just think the world of adoption, and adoptees that have had a tough time, and they, some hate their birth parents, and some, don't hate their birth parents, but they hate adoption. And I listen to everybody, and I store it, so that I can learn from it, because everybody's point of view is valid, and we really should, appreciate what they've gone through in these groups. A lot of times, there's a lot of emotional work that people go through to explain things, and I appreciate that, because I have learned so much from adoptees so that I can have a successful reunion. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate them for doing that emotional work so that I can have a great reunion, even though they might have not, and it breaks my heart. But anyways, I digress. I'm going to move forward. And I'm still a work in progress. I'm still a work in progress as well. I'm not completely healed. I realize things all the time. When I think, oh yeah, like I'm in a really good space, bam, something else happens. But I'm a beautiful mess, and I'm okay with that. I've accepted my faults, and I've accepted my past. And while it's defined me up until this point, I now know I have the power to change the actual definition for me, and make myself happy, and make my daughter happy, and have her be a priority. And I can give her her boundaries that she needs and she deserves, while continuing to grow our relationship. But don't ever tell me I should be proud to give her away, and that it doesn't define me. Because if there's one thing in this world that has defined me as a woman and as a human being, it's adoption. And with that said, everybody, have a great night. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.